welcome to this online webinar for the online Masters in Plant Breeding. My name is Anja Kuipers and I'm Program Director of the Plant Sciences Programs at Wageningen University. And I'm presenting this webinar together with Jan Kees Goud.
Hi, I'm a developer of the online program and I'm also a study advisor for the students who follow the online program.
So now we've mentioned our names and we would also like to get to know you a bit. So where are you from? The Netherlands, Europe, outside Europe? You can type your answer in the chat. And in the meantime, I will give an overview of the topics that we will discuss in this webinar. I will start with an overview of Wageningen University and zooming in into the laboratory of plant breeding. And then we will continue with some general information on the online master, the program, requirements, tuition fees, etc. And after that, Jan Kees will follow with further details on the courses and the online platform that is being used during the online master. So let's see, are there already answers coming in, Jan Kees?
No, they're still filling in, I think.
Ah, okay.
So I'm refreshing, maybe it lags behind a little bit.
So, I'm really curious to see some answers because in general we have quite an international audience in the online master. We are wondering whether students...
Yeah, we have some coming in.
Okay.
Okay, so we have some from the Netherlands, currently 18% of the attendees, also 18% from outside Europe, and the majority is from Europe, but not from the Netherlands. That's 64%. So that's quite an international audience.
So that's already quite representative of the audience that we actually have every year in the online master. So then I will continue with the content of the presentation. When you have questions during our information, you can type them in the chat via the orange question button that you can see in your screen. So first a bit of information on Wageningen University. Wageningen University is internationally well known for its quality of education and research in the field of life sciences, the broad field of life sciences. And on this slide you can see a couple of scores from Wageningen University in various rankings related to research. World's #1 university in agricultural and biological sciences, according to the SciMago ranking. Also in the Times Higher Education rankings we score always quite high. And also in the field of education in the Netherlands, Wageningen has been elected best university of the Netherlands already for 18 times on a row. So that's is representative of the good quality of our education as well. All our bachelor and master's programs, including this online master, are accredited through the NVAO, the Dutch accreditation organization. And in general, we have more than 50% international students in our online master's programs. Over time, we have built an immense, large alumni network, worldwide coverage, and in the domain of plant breeding, Wageningen University has a 100-year track record. So quite some experience in also education in the field of plant breeding. And this webinar is specifically dedicated to our online master plant breeding. But if you're interested in plant breeding, it's maybe also good to know that there are also other ways to study plant breeding at Wageningen University. So we also offer a regular master's program, a 2-year full-time program on campus. And very new is our offer starting September this year, September 2023, to follow specific courses from the online masters together with the online students. And we are presenting smaller packages of 1 or 2 courses, totaling up to 3 or 7 credits per course. And this will start in September 2023. So if you're doubting whether a full master would be something, but you're still interested to get more knowledge on the domain of plant breeding, then you can keep an eye on this new option for micro-credentials and maybe start with 2 courses and to find out whether this way of teaching matches your perspectives and interests. And finally, we also offer smaller self-study modules, also for online education, also in the field of plant breeding. And this is totally self-study. So this can be started and finished at any time with or without an exam. And there are different options on basics of plant breeding, markers, resistance, F1 hybrids, mutation, quality. So these are 6 parts of 1 or 2 credits each. So different ways for you to get more information and university level knowledge in the domain of plant breeding. So plant breeding at Wageningen University offers research and education in the full domain of plant breeding. Actually, the Department of Plant Breeding is a couple of years older than Wageningen University itself. So, yeah, quite an impressive track record. And on this slide, you can see the different domains that are being addressed in the research at the Department of Plant Breeding. In many cases, there's a combination of academic research, which is done within the chair of plant breeding, but there's always quite a lot of cooperation with the Dutch plant breeding companies, and that research, applied and fundamental, has an international perspective in most cases. So it's also there's also a very strong focus in converting the fundamental knowledge from research into applications for the breeding industry. And these aspects will also be addressed in the courses of the online master. So, in addition to the online master plant breeding, Wageningen University offers 2 other online master's programs. They all follow a similar setup. They are fully accredited, like all our other master's degree programs. We have experience with these online masters since 2015. The online masters are specifically targeted for people who are currently already working in a plant breeding company and want to upgrade their knowledge to the university master level in combination with the job that they are working on. So the online master's degree enables to combine study with work and private life. It's possible to study from home, but you don't have to do everything on your own, because you will be able to study as a cohort with the group of students that starts the master in September. You will follow the courses and also interact and discuss topics among the group of students. So it's part-time with a study load of approximately 20 hours per week. Part-time, but still quite challenging if you want to combine it with work, family life and other business and obligations. On this slide, you can see the general structure of the program. It's quite a complicated slide, and in the second part of this webinar, Jan Kees will zoom into a couple of details. For now, it is important to share with you that year 1 and year 2 of this online program are composed of a series of courses in fixed order, dealing with all the topics that are connected to plant breeding as a profession. In these courses, you will follow you will get information, you will work on assignments with the group members and finish each of the courses with an exam. So that's the setup for year 1 and year 2. And that is the theoretic part is followed with year 3 in full-time modes, or in year 3 and 4 in a part-time way of studying. And in that second part, you will work on a master thesis and an academic internship. And the academic internship can mostly be combined with your work in a breeding company. Okay, Jan Kees will continue on the content in the second part. So I will continue with the expectations. So what do you need to be able to successfully start with the online master plant breeding? Well, it's a master, so you need to have a relevant academic background, and the main knowledge that we expect is bachelor level knowledge in genetics, plant physiology and statistics. So we require for the admission a bachelor degree in biology, life sciences, agriculture, agronomy, something in a bachelor degree in such a domain, with a grade point average of 70% of the maximum possible scale or higher. So in the Dutch grading scale, that means a general average of 7 or higher. And on our website, the Wageningen University website, you can find detailed information on how this GPA requirement translates into grading scales of different countries. All the master's programs at Wageningen University are fully taught in English, so that's why it's important to also prove your English proficiency as part of the admission process. And we require, for example, an IELTS score of 6.5 with a sub-score of 6 for speaking. And we also accept different other English tests. So also here, additional detailed information can be found on our Wageningen University website. And because of the specific setup of this online master, it is highly recommended to start the program with relevant working experience in a plant breeding company, for example. So that's actually another question that we would like to ask you. Are you currently working in the plant breeding sector? And you can simply answer in the chat by typing yes or no. So while you are working on this chat, I will continue with a bit more detail on the required background knowledge. This textbook, Introduction to Genetic Analysis, is also used in some of the courses of the online master plant breeding, and it also provides in the first couple of chapters a good refresher of the basics in genetics that is actually required as a starting point to start with the online master. So if you consider to start the online master and apply, and maybe already are admitted at some point, then it's highly recommended to buy this book already before you actually start to refresh your genetics basics knowledge. And the same holds true for statistics. Also here, the study book is used in the courses of the online master, and also here the first chapters of the book provide sufficient options to refresh background knowledge in the field of statistics. Because as it always goes with statistics knowledge, when you don't practice, you get lost in the miracles of statistics. So then, in that sense, it's good to refresh this knowledge before the start of the actual master. Then, also important, the study expenses and possibilities for study grants. So this slide shows you an updated overview of the tuition fees for the upcoming academic year, 23-24. There are different tuition fees depending on the origin, the country that you are coming from. So for EU students, the annual tuition fee is a bit higher than 2,000 euros per year. For EU students that don't already have a Dutch master's degree. For EU students that do already have a Dutch master's degree, the tuition fee is 7,600 euros. And for non-EU students, the tuition fee is a bit higher than 10,000 euros per year. This is the planned tuition fees. It's not fully sure yet, but it won't be greatly different from these amounts of money. In addition to the tuition fees, you also have to calculate for travel and living costs for the on-campus weeks. Jan Kees will explain later on what the on-campus weeks encompass. And we always get many questions on the possibilities to obtain grants for studying this master program. There's a website, Grant Finder, on studyinholland.nl, where you can find options to apply for scholarships. But you really have to realize that scholarships business is highly competitive. So there are very limited possibilities to obtain a scholarship for this online master program. So that's quite a challenge to get everything financed. But maybe we often have students that work in breeding companies, and then the company will also support the student in the tuition fees for this program. So that might also be an option. Okay, let's get back to the poll, Jan Kees.
Yes, we have answers, and about 45% do work in a plant breeding company or in the plant breeding sector, and 55% does not. Not yet, I would say. And that's, in fact, more or less what we have, I think, of the population of the students who actually are in the online program. I think a little over half is indeed working in plant breeding companies, and a little lower than half is not yet, but very interested to become. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
then Jan Kees.
Okay. Yeah.
Give the floor to you.
Thank you. So what else is required? Well, working in the plant breeding sector is not a requirement, but we will train you to be able to do so. What is required is to have some good, reasonably well computer skills, because if there's something going on with the software or with your laptop, well, over here I can just walk to the IT desk on campus, but you are maybe far away and left on your own. So it's good that you know something, or that you know a friend or a family member who is able to help you, and who is a little bit knowledgeable. You have to install some programs, etc. Usually not, if everything works, then that it's usually not a big problem. But you have to be able to ask someone help, and that's always good. So you're not on your own. Of course, you need broadband internet, and that's available at many places nowadays. So that's usually not a problem. Usually it's way good enough for watching the clips and doing the exams. So we currently almost never have problems with that. And what's needed as well is the commitment to be engaged in this online learning community, because you will be physically situated on your own, but you will be part of a group of other students. You'll be in courses with teachers, of course, and you'll have a weekly task. So you have to work with these deadlines. There is flexibility within the week, so you can work on Monday or Tuesday, or Thursday or Friday, or Saturday and Sunday. It's up to you, but there's a weekly task usually, and if you want to keep on track, you have to be able to finish within that week. And also, we have a special system of doing exams. That's a system where you use your own equipment, your own computer, but you will be constantly filmed through your webcam, so that has to be working. And your computer screen is grabbed continuously, and that's kind of an awkward situation. But, that's part of the deal if you want to be in the online program. The alternative is that we invite all the students every 4 weeks to come to Wageningen to do the exam, and that's not ideal. So that's not the thing that we do. So these are some requirements. And what do we have to offer to you? Well, of course, we have a lot of courses that deal directly or are very close to plant breeding. We start the first year of courses with basic courses on plant breeding, on genetics, population genetics, plant pathology, plant biotechnology, and then there are the practicum weeks, so 2 weeks per year that you will actually come to Wageningen to perform practicum skills and get practical training, etc. So in the lab and in the greenhouse. And after that, you will get some more advanced courses like advanced statistics and a course on marker-assisted breeding. And in the second year, we have some more specialized courses like breeding for abiotic stress tolerance, breeding for resistance, breeding for quality. And then we have some special courses about experimental setup of experiments and data analysis, and on genomics and bioinformatics. And then again, 2 practicum weeks at Wageningen. And then you will have a very special project that is to design, together with other students, completely from scratch, a new plant breeding program. So involving all the aspects and the material, the focus, where you want to breed for, the crossing parents, amounts of plants, financial aspects and all that stuff. It's very interesting, and in fact in that project all the previous knowledge of the online masters will come together. So that's a very nice project, and it's also a training in cooperating with other students. And finally, there's a course on new trends and new developments in plant breeding. So it is also giving, let's say, a glance in the future on to see what you want to do, maybe in your thesis phase or during your internship. So that brings me to the second part. So either then you switch to full-time and you try to finish everything in 1 year, or you try to do it in again part-time and spread it over 2 years. First of all, there's a master thesis, so that's an academic training in which you are trained, usually in a research group, to perform academic science. So you'll perform. You'll think of a proposal for experiments. You perform the experiments. You analyze them, and then you write a report. So the best place to do this is actually in a research group in Wageningen. But for the online program, we can also think of other places to do this. For example, if you work in a breeding company and you have lab facilities and plant material and greenhouse facilities, then it can be done over there too, or under the supervision of a Wageningen staff member, or maybe in a sandwich construction, coming to Wageningen, performing experiments in the company and coming back to Wageningen, or the other way around, performing the experiments in Wageningen and do the writing and the setup at a distance. This is all possible because the thesis is anyway individually arranged. Also, if you study on campus, it's not a standard course, but it's aimed at your specific research interest. Then an internship. The internship is typically performed at a breeding company. So there you get training in how it is to work in a breeding company. And for those of you who do not yet work in a breeding company, this is very interesting, of course, because then you have finally, the place you can take a look into a company, how it works and how it is, what's all involved in the type of work. And if you do work in a breeding company already, then you can have quite an advantage here, because you can combine your work with the internship. You don't actually have to go somewhere to another place to perform the internship. It's allowed, of course, but it's more easily arranged if you can do it just within your company. So as part of your ongoing work projects. Of course, you have to write a report about it. So there's different options for different situations. So let's zoom in a little bit on the courses themselves. Well, key to that, the starting point is our learning system. So we use the Brightspace learning environment, and there you find your courses, and within the courses you will find the task for that specific week. And that consists of more or less 20 hours of activities, so it's quite much to be finished every week. And the course typically consists of 3 to 4 weeks, and it consists of knowledge clips, book chapters, ebooks and other types of online material, assignments, sometimes individual, sometimes group assignments. Often you have to hand in something, not always. Discussions, so very low profile type of assignments, but these all help you, let's say, master the topic at hand. We also teach you some skills, like giving a presentation, scientific writing. Skills like that are also very important. Online communication, finding literature, and those are typically concentrated in 1 week. So they are not finished with an exam, but you write something, or you hand in something, or you reflect on your activities and you write a portfolio. So you're graded in that way. So some words about, that's almost the final slide, about Wageningen practicum weeks. In year 1 and in year 2, you will come to Wageningen for 2 weeks. And that's to give you some training, in fact, belonging to the topics that you had that year before, during that year. Lab practicals, greenhouse practicals, but also giving presentations on reports. And of course, you will visit, finally, Wageningen and its facilities. And that can be very interesting. Also the Netherlands, it harbors a lot of breeding companies, so we usually go on an excursion, and that's also very nice to do that together. Because the most important thing is that you also meet your fellow students. And that's a strange situation always, because you already know each other quite well from all the online courses, but you have never seen each other before. And that moment that you first, step into that lecture hall and meet each other, that's always very, very peculiar. You know somebody, but you have never seen them really before. Well, that is followed up during the second year, and then what's special there is you then have just started to work on this large group project on designing a breeding program. So there you can meet each other, meet your supervisor, and work on, have a head start working together. And that just helps during that week. And final thing is to look ahead for the years after that. So the thesis, maybe speak to some persons who might in which group you might want to do the thesis, or yeah. So these are all possibilities during the Wageningen weeks when you are actually here. So this concludes more or less the presentation from our side. So this presentation is recorded, so you can always look back in what we said and follow the links in the presentation. But to summarize our story, and after that we will listen to you if you have questions. But to summarize, the entire online masters in plant breeding, it's an internationally accredited program. It's 4 years part-time but intensive, and it gives an academic focus on plant breeding. So it trains you to become a plant breeder or a plant breeding scientist, whatever you are interested in. So if that's appealing to you, then I invite you to be part of this new learning. Thank you for your attention. And now the floor is open for questions.
Yeah, we already received some questions, Jan Kees.
Yeah.
So let's see what has come in so far. So I see here a message from a somebody from Ethiopia, currently working in the Ethiopian Institute of Agricultural Research with a master's in plant pathology, and this person would like to continue by successfully conducting resistance breeding research activities, and would like to know if it's possible to fully complete this online master's in plant breeding. Well, I think that with masters in plant pathology, yeah, maybe that is a continuation of a more general bachelor in agriculture with biology, plant physiology, genetics, the things we mentioned. So with that basis, it sounds like a good starting point to apply for admission to our online masters. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the same person also asked, can I have a chance to continue without securing a grant? So that I think that refers to scholarships. Mm-hmm. It's a recognized master's program, so that means it's not free of charge like these MOOCs that are quite popular these days. It is an accredited program, so it comes with tuition fee, and yeah, that means that tuition fees need to be paid either by students themselves or through scholarships or grants. Mm-hmm. Okay, then let's see what else came in. Reading the English certificate. Can you accept English proficiency from our institution? Yeah, this is currently not possible. So the policy on English has gotten a bit more strict than it used to be before. So unfortunately, yeah, we do require the official English certificates as part of the admission procedure. So the tests that are accepted by Wageningen University are mentioned on our website. And so that's the standard that you have to show in that respect. Yeah. Then I see a question, another question. Do you offer scholarships for this program? Yeah, we mentioned on one of the slides that it's really challenging to get a scholarship. And always the first step in the whole procedure is to apply for admission, because in most of the grant applications, it is required to come up with an admission letter from a university. So application is always a first step. And then, yeah, applying for a fellowship is always quite a challenge. So, yeah, you need also quite a bit of luck to get a scholarship, to be able to study.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's a question from Simone. Are the lessons recorded, so we can watch whenever we want? Yes, that's usually the case. So that's the core of all the courses that that it's already there for you, especially made for you. And on top of that, sometimes there's a question hour through Teams. So that will be in a live session. But that's not compulsory. That's kind of extra. Not in every course, but that sometimes is the case. But all the lessons, all the lectures are ready. So.
Okay. I see another one. I have a master degree of Belgium. How much would I have to pay? Yeah, that depends on your nationality. So with an European nationality, you have to pay the European tuition fee of about 2,000 euros a year. And a master degree from Belgium doesn't have any influence on that. So the only thing that can influence the tuition fee is in the case you have a Dutch master's degree already. So a master's degree of Belgium doesn't have an effect, but your nationality does have an effect on the tuition fee.
Yeah.
Okay, then I see another one. Once I get the MSc title, does it say that it was made online? No, that's not mentioned on the diploma.
Sometimes it is, I think.
Okay.
On some diplomas it is.
Oh.
Yeah. We decided that it was not on there because
maybe the older one from the earlier starting cohorts of students.
Could be, yeah. In fact, there's...
it is mentioned under specialization plant breeding. Master's plant sciences is mentioned on the diploma, and then specialization plant breeding.
Okay. We have to watch maybe tomorrow when we...
Yeah.
There are some... Yeah. There's another question from Simone. If it's not possible to complete the entire online master because it's hard to combine with work, is it possible to do and follow only some courses and do only some exams? Yes, that's possible. So in one of the first slides, Anja already explained that we offer a selection of courses also for that purpose. But in fact, you can also be registered for, if you are admitted, of course, for the entire online master, and then maybe in consultant with me choose to do not the entire master, so maybe not the thesis, or maybe not the entire second part, but only several of the courses. That's a possibility, and you can also see how that will go. So yeah, you can always start and stop once you are admitted.
Yeah.
If you are from Europe, that's a little bit more easy to arrange, because if you're from outside Europe, you usually come with a grant, and that's usually for a limited amount of 2 years or 4 years, or at least limited with respect to time, and then it's more difficult to arrange it.
Okay, I see here another question on the books. I would like to ask if we have to buy the books for every course, or will they be given to us as e-books or PDFs? Jan Kees, what's the general approach in the courses of the online master? I think sometimes you have to buy books.
Yeah,
but not
we have books, usually printed books that you can. You have to buy in advance. So we have the genetics book, the statistics book. We have a book on plant biotechnology, and we have a book on for breeding for resistance. And I think those are more or less it. So it's not so many.
It's limited.
And all the others are in fact offered through the learning environment, or a link through our library where they are then available.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have some supplementary books that we recommend, or we recommend if you want to specialize in a certain area. But those, in fact, we have 4 books that you need to buy, so to say.
I also see a question on the time difference, whether that is a problem. This question comes in from Abu Dhabi.
So with the larger part, it's not a problem at all.
No.
Because it's ready there and you can study. Yeah. So if you react on a discussion post, you do that, and then maybe the next morning, maybe that will for you be the next afternoon or the next midnight, someone will answer your question or will react on your suggestion or whatever. So it goes like that together, and that works well if the group is large enough. Let's say larger than 10 students, then it usually works nice. One student raises a question and that's quickly answered, so you have an answer the next day. Or of course, if you want to cooperate in a project, so we have several courses in which you need to write a report together, then you'll need to find the time with your classmates to meet, so through an online system. Yeah, and sometimes it is, the location in the world can be one of the topics to keep in mind. So of course you can follow your interest and you say, I want to work on that crop, so I want to be in that team. But if that team is all from Australia and you are from, from the United States, then that might not work well together, because one has to work in the middle of night. So you can arrange that more or less, yourself.
Yeah.
No problem until now. But of course, sometimes a problem to fit all the agendas, like it would be with all Dutch persons as well. Some nights work well for one, but are impossible for the other.
Another question, what is your experience with people that attend the master while they are fully working for a company? And another one, is the master doable also in less than 4 years? Yeah, I think with the experience that we have gained over the past few years, it is almost impossible to combine the master successfully with a full-time job. Isn't that true?
Yes. Yeah,
in very exceptional cases,
yes,
maybe?
and sometimes I had a volunteer student with this open day, and he was very bright, and he said, yes, it can be done. I said, no, it cannot be done. Maybe you can do it, but I cannot do it, because, it is, you have to think, would you be able to take a very demanding job next to the job that you already have? So, I mean, it's a master level, so you need to have some really bright hours when you come home from work. And maybe you don't have a family, maybe you don't have a lot of activities during the night, and maybe you don't have a very demanding job. Then it's possible. If your job is a little bit boring, or maybe a little bit, repetitive, or not so challenging, maybe then you'll have a lot of energy left to dive into the master every night. But that's
for 2 years. That's quite something.
That's quite something. So so I always say it's not possible, but of course, it has been done before.
Yeah.
Also shorter than 4 years, it has occurred, but it's not really
allowed. It's kind of possible if you do the master thesis full-time in the 3rd year instead of part-time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Another question, based on your experience, are the plant breeding companies really interested in students who accomplish this master? I think we can say full yes to that question.
Yeah, definitely.
There are some plant breeding companies that actually send their staff to Wageningen University to specifically take this online master in plant breeding. So it's very much valued by the plant breeding companies. Let's see, another question here. I am from Ethiopia and with an MSc in horticulture. I want to continue master in plant breeding. May I apply? Is English language test mandatory for me? Yeah, you can apply. As long as you do have some bachelor or master level knowledge already in plant physiology, genetics and statistics. And yes, an English test is always a requirement from Wageningen University in all master applications.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, this question, is the online master flexible for the internship? Can it be possible to accept an old internship done in the past?
No,
Well,
that's not an old internship done in the past. That's not possible to include that. Because the idea of the internship is also that you apply the knowledge that you learn in the courses of the online master in the context of a plant breeding company. And obviously you can't do that in an internship that you already completed in the past. So you can fulfill the requirements of the internship based on your current working experience while studying. That is very well possible. And that can also work in shortening the time to diploma. But it's not possible to include something from the past.
Yeah. There's a question of Gabriele, how it works with a missed exam or a failed exam. So that both are possible. A missed exam can be because you are ill or some drag line broke the internet cable in your street. That happened also one time. And the whole city practically was without internet. So yeah, we have re-exam possibilities. So maybe I quickly scroll back to this one. We see usually at the end of every course there's an exam opportunity, but the orange parts are re-exam opportunities. And usually we will have 3 exam possibilities per year. So you, of course, when the exam is actually due after the course. And then there's a re-exam opportunity either in February or May. And again, another one in July. And it depends on which, when the course is given, when a re-exam opportunity is given. And it's also, again, possible to do the exam when the course has been offered to the new students 1 year later. So that's also always a possibility. So each year you have these possibilities. So yes, not a big problem.
Yeah, I see another question. Are there chances to apply for a PhD at Wageningen University after the master? Yeah, in principle, that's also a possibility. The online master, like all masters in Wageningen, give you the full qualification as a master's degree, and that can be used to apply for PhD positions at Wageningen University or at other universities. So yeah, there are chances.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tuition fees, how are they paid?
Yeah.
Paid in advance?
Yeah, you have to pay before the start of the study program, so before the end of August.
Yeah, per year, eh?
Per year. So you don't have to pay the full tuition fee for the full 2 to 4 years, but you have to pay per year. And I'm not quite sure whether it's possible to pay in installments.
They usually
don't like it.
But it is not impossible, I
No,
think.
it's not impossible, but that's something that needs some more discussion.
Yeah. this one we have.
A previous degree that is not quite life or biological sciences. I studied natural resource management, a mix of science and policy. Would Wageningen accept completed online courses or MOOCs from other universities to meet prerequisites? Yes, we do accept additional training to compensate for courses that have not been part of your bachelor program. So that for sure is an option. Yeah, and yeah, as mentioned here in this question of genetics, plant physiology and statistics, those courses are really required at the bachelor level to be successful in the courses of the online master. Let's see if there are any more questions, because we are approaching the 8 o'clock deadline.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're getting there.
Yeah. English.
Again, question on English.
I'll skip that, yeah.
Yeah, so you need to prove your English proficiency with one of these officially accredited tests. And in general, plant protection, University of Jordan, my average is 2.06 out of 4. Can I enroll? That sounds a bit on the lower side GPA-wise. So I would for sure recommend you to look into the details for Jordan in the information on our website on GPA requirements.
And maybe working experience?
Working experience can also, so yeah, that also can help. If your average is just below this required minimum, but you do have several years of relevant working experience, for example, in a plant breeding company, then that can also be taken into account to compensate for a slightly lower GPA requirement.
Okay. And the yield certification, does it has to be recent?
It has to be recent.
Yeah.
True. Normally it expires after 2 years. So if your certification is has expired, then you have to do a new test, basically.
Yeah.
Would someone with a non-EU nationality but with Dutch permanent residence be counted as an EU student? No, I'm afraid that's not the case. No. Unfortunately, that will then be the non-EU tuition fees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How much time would take the master thesis to fully accomplish it? Well, when you do the thesis in a full-time modus, then it can be completed in 6 months.
6 months.
From day 1 to getting the grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can be spread out until, well, practically 1 year.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think all questions that have been raised are answered by now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can imagine that after this webinar, other questions might pop up. So yeah, then you can always contact us to ask more questions. You can also have a look at our website for additional information. And the easiest way, so you can use the web links on this slide. But Google is also very helpful. So if you type anything, for example, online master plant breeding Wageningen, then you get to the right pages as well. Or admission requirements master Wageningen will also lead you to the relevant pages with further details and also options to get in touch with us for more detailed information. Yeah, I think that's it. So.
Any contact of students who attended this master?
Another question.
Yeah, there are. We don't give these contacts.
We don't give these contacts.
Some interviews on the website.
Yeah.
That testimonials and some movies where they explain.
Yeah.
But we can maybe put you in contact with somebody
Yeah.
the other way around. So if you email us, we can give your your email address maybe to several of them. Maybe explain a little bit your situation, then we can kind of find the maybe students from the same country or with the same background or the same working or non-working situation. So then you can discuss with them a little bit. In that.
That's a good option indeed.
So if you contact us, then we can we could do something like that.
Yeah. So I think this should be then the almost the final question.
Yeah.
Who do we communicate with? How to register for the program? 1 year experience and GPA 2.06. So basically the information on the website on these issues can be found by typing admission requirements Master Wageningen. There's also contact buttons there where you can ask your question, and then we will answer the question by email. So that's also a good way to contact us to find out more about the details. And I think then with that we will conclude this webinar. So thanks a lot for watching.
Thank you.
And maybe we will meet you in the future as part of this online master, or maybe a couple of the courses that are part of this master. So enjoy your evening. Thanks for watching, and maybe see you sometime in Wageningen.